Welcome to Ultiworld's coverage of the 2016 Club Championships here from Rockford, Illinois, and presented to you by Friction Gloves. I'm Keith Rayner, joined in the booth here by Katie Reynolds. And we have a treat for you. You may have seen this before, but it's always been a classic. San Francisco Fury taking on Seattle Riot, maybe the greatest rivalry in all of Ultimate, and this time it's in the semifinals of Nationals.
You know, these two teams have played each other so many times. Both have been dominant all season. But, Keith, this weekend we've seen them have different paths throughout the tournament. Riot has struggled to close out most of their games in pool play and through the bracket, while Fury has almost coasted here to this point. Though I wouldn't say they've coasted. They've just been dominant and in control of every game that they've played. Yeah, a bit of a change of pace from the regular season where Riot was one of the strongest teams unquestionably. It's how they earned the number one seed coming into this tournament. Fury had some ups and downs. They took some losses that they probably didn't expect to, but they have been peaking, that magic P word that you always want to hear in Nationals. And Fury is playing arguably the best Ultimate of any women's team here in Rockford. One of the biggest surprises of this weekend has actually been that former Fury coach Maddie Sang is back as head coach this weekend for Fury. He told me yesterday after their quarterfinals win that he bought his ticket 8 days ago, but he has been in charge on the field with Fury, and he's helped them through some of their trickier games. And, Katie, it would be irresponsible to imply that correlation is causation, but you can't argue with Maddie Sang's presence on the sideline and how that is correlated with Fury championships. Absolutely, and I know that he's excited to take another crack at Riot in this semifinal game. Riot has a new offense this season that's been very effective for them, and talking to Maddie yesterday, he said he was excited to devise some strategies to try to shut down this new vert stack that Riot has. Riot and Fury, both incredibly deep teams, experienced, filled with top-level players who've played at the heights of the women's game. Legends and new stars alike. Expect to hear a lot of different names called because neither team is going to be trotting the same 7 to 10 out there as we see Fury's defense ready for the pull. And the disc will start with Paige Soper. She'll swing it over to Alyssa Weatherford. Bailey Zonizer on the open sideline. And already this is that new vertical stack look Riot has been honing all season as Cassie Swafford winds up a backhand towards the end zone for Shira Stern, and that is an efficient hold to get us started. Stern on the goal, 1-0, Riot leads. And we'll watch that goal again, a dominant offensive point from Riot. You can see this beautiful backhand from Cassie Swafford, one of Riot's new pickups. An excellent catch there for the first goal on the board. Swafford, a former Callahan winner out of Ohio State, has made a big impact in her time here in Seattle. Played with Phoenix last year, led Club Nationals in assists, and now transitioned to a cutter, but still showing off those pretty throws. For both of these teams, many of their quote-unquote first-year players are already names that we know really well. Paige Soper and Cassie Swafford, both new to Riot this season and both already making an impact. You know, we say first year, but both of these women are not strangers to, being on big stages. Yeah, there is not a new player on any of these teams that is a stranger to club success or college success, or in many cases, world championship success. Riot off to a nice start, and love to see them scoring after switching the fields. Expect to see that frequently. Their offense is at its best when they're moving from sideline to sideline, but we will see their defense go to work against Fury's offense. Disc centered to Andrea Romano. Now over to Nancy Sun. Riot coming out with a zone look. Pushing Fury towards the sideline, and now Maggie Rudin has it with her cleat about a yard off the line.
Swinging around to Anna Nazarov. Nazarov directing traffic.
It's interesting to see Fury navigate the zone. Fury is known for their zone offense. They have the ability to create spaces on the field that many other teams don't, and particularly with much less wind today, I expect to see Fury move pretty calmly through this zone.
Yeah, zone has been a common tool over the past 2 days of competition through Thursday and Friday here in Rockford at the Mercy Sports Court Soccer Complex. Blustery conditions, 10 to 15 mile per hour winds with 25 mile per hour gusts have kept us from getting a lot of great deep shots like this one. Derek Clancy hauls that in for Fury, and just like Riot, they score on their first possession to make it 1-1.
That was such a confident shot here over the cup that was trying to reset again. Derek Clancy, one of those players that, you look at the stats sheet, you don't always see her name there, but she's been a huge midfield player for Fury and often is the one who'll get that long ball and then be able to dish it to another handler to facilitate the score.
Nice throw there from Nancy Sun. You're right. Calmly is a great way to describe it. Takes her time, doesn't rush the play, sets her feet, and winds up for a nice throw despite the chaos of defense swirling around her.
Yeah, she has played. It's hard to single out players on Fury who have shown composure because I think that's their defining characteristic this weekend and this season. And it'll be interesting to see what, if Riot can hold on this offensive point, what they can throw at Fury to disrupt that.
Sun, such a seasoned player. She's the second oldest player on this Fury team at 34 years of age, and still one of the best throwers in the women's division. Speaking of great throwers in the women's division, an all-timer here, Alex Snyder with the pull for the Fury defense. Kelly Johnson fields and sends it over to Roy Titcomb. Up ahead now with Charlie Mercer. And here you see that sideline-to-sideline motion. Angelica Boyden holding. But that throw behind the cutter there, a mistake from Fury will give, or a mistake from Riot will give Fury their first chance at a break.
I believe Fury was trying their forced middle on that vert stack. It certainly caused that turn.
Now the disc bouncing around with these Fury handlers. Nesfardo over to Snyder. These two have been playing together for so long. Snyder with it in the middle of the horizontal stack. Up to Michaela Meister. Fardo looking for options. Finds Kayla Jorgensen just outside the end zone. Hannah Kawhi on the mark. Stoppage of play. Great opportunity here in the red zone for Fury. A little shimmy move from Snyder gets her some reset space.
You can see Fury's patience here. They're all willing to let their handlers work with this. The stack is not making a lot of chaos in the end zone, and it gets success. And
Fajardo goes to the break side for Lisa Cooper, and the game's first break goes to San Francisco. They lead 2-1.
I think that was an excellent example we'll see here again of the composure outside the end zone that Fury has. They're willing to let their handlers swing and create those spaces, and cutters downfield are just going to wait for the perfect moment to make that cut, and they're not going to do anything beforehand.
Fajardo with the high release backhand break to set up that one. And a patient D-line possession from Fury.
And I'll be interested to see if they try that forced middle again on Riot. They did briefly there that forced that turn. Maddie was saying yesterday they wouldn't know. They don't practice vert stack in practices for Fury, and so it's hard to practice defenses against that offense. And they would try the forced middle, and it looks like that was successful.
Well, we talked about how effective it's been for Riot's vertical stack to work the disc from sideline to sideline, and perhaps by forcing them to try and go right up the middle of the field and into the stack, Fury can fluster this Riot offense. The pull going up from Snyder. Riot centering up the disc, looking for Sarah Griffith off the pole. But a zone here from Fury will take them away from any pole play and generate a block. Snyder calmly approaching the disc. Alyssa Weatherford set to mark, calling to her defense. Snyder giving and going. Fury looking to add a second break. Jorgensen give and go, but that one squeaks off her hands.
Looks like they were moving a little bit too quickly through a tight space there.
Sober to get things started. Fury falling back to their zone defense. Soper finds Weatherford. Into the middle for Callie Ma. Back up to Soper. Both teams experimenting with zones in the early parts of this game. Julia Schneider with the disc.
Riot doesn't seem to have any trouble moving off of that line and swinging. I wonder if the zone's just trying to contain any up the field movement, but they're allowing those laterals.
Ma and Snyder working it back and forth. Not a lot of upfield options here for Riot so far.
Well, we saw this same zone from Fury against Scandal, and you could hear them talking about it's just containment, it's just containment. Laterals are okay, but that's what they're trying to shut off is those upfield options.
Forcing this Riot offense to execute at a high level by giving them a number of throws, and they fail to rise to the challenge. Jorgensen picks that off. Finney ahead to Narayan. Finney, full width of the field there to Sharon Lynn. One of the few rookies on this Fury team. Narayan resets back to Finney. She looks to the end zone. Double coverage, intercepted there by Soper. Fury getting organized back into their zone, and nearly an unforced error there from Riot. Floaty one. Groover. Finney. Go to the disc. Let's see who got there first.
That was a tough call.
That is very, very close. Tough to tell, even in the replay, which player got to that first, but Ty is going to go to the offense here. Groover. Fury transitioning to match up person to person. Soper, cross field, tries to find Swafford, but Lynn breaks up the Ohio State connection.
It was an excellent heads-up defense there. You know, other players might be watching their player come into the end zone for that, but she was ready for that pass.
Dom Fontenette matched up with Snyder. Two of the all-time greats, likely nearing the ends of their careers at this level, but still playing meaningful points and making huge impacts during those points.
Now, when Riot was learning this new vertical offense, for many of these younger players, they haven't learned the game in a vertical offense. They've learned in Ho, but Dom Fontenette was familiar with the vert stack from years and years before. She was no stranger to it.
And there, another turnover here as the two teams get into a bit of a sloppy fest here. Lynn trying to get the block, but a call here from Soper. Certainly the longest point of the game thus far. Multiple changes of possession each way.
And these are the points that, so far this weekend, Riot has been much more used to than Fury. And it does make you wonder if Fury has a little bit more experience this weekend working through and winning these longer points, these more exhausting points where everyone on the field, has a little fatigue after several turns.
Fury has been very efficient, and here they will get the disc in a short field opportunity. Had one of these before, but couldn't generate a goal. Snyder. Your round throw there. Now towards the end zone with Narayan. Jorgensen, inside backhand break. Lynn with the bookends. 2 blocks there for Sharon Lynn, and she's rewarded with another Fury break. They take a 3-1 lead.
What fantastic point here for Sharon Lynn. You can see here she's getting ready in that nice lateral cut across the top of the end zone for her. It's a great vote of confidence from Fury to have her on these, in these big games, and she's come to play.
The former Cal Pie Queen, diminutive in stature, but capable of big plays here. And Riot's going to burn a timeout in an attempt to recover some of the momentum here. We're going to take a quick break as well. We'll be right back with you.
Wear the #1 glove in Ultimate, Friction Gloves. Frictions will help your throws and catches in all conditions. Head to frictiongloves.com to check out the brand new Friction 3, their best glove yet.
And we are back here just as the teams break from their collective huddles. Riot looking for answers after a slow start in these first 4 points.
We need to see the Riot that has been so dominant all season, who can take control of the pace of the game. I think they really need to exert themselves and assert themselves on the field.
And if Riot were to come back and win this one, it wouldn't be the first time during the course of this tournament that they've done so. They had to battle through a very feisty Heist team who carried a lead late in the game before 4 straight goals for Riot turned it all around.
Yeah, and they've had close games as well with Nightlock and Traffic, both West Coast teams that they know pretty well. But they were not able to shut out those games in the course of reaching the semifinal.
Riot defeating Traffic in their quarterfinal to advance to the semifinal, while Fury with another dominant performance, this time against Showdown. As we see that Riot offense.
Just some of the division's most well-known legendary players. Kelly Johnson, Rory Titcomb, Kawhi out there.
Hannah Kawhi has been having an incredible season for this Riot team, maybe in the Player of the Year conversation. Zone again from Fury. They're going to force this Riot team to show that they can execute.
You can already see a quicker pace from Riot.
Quick transition here. Kelly Johnson's up line throw, probably going to get called back after Titcomb hits the turf. She's going to quickly sub out. A little limping, but under her own power.
I would love to watch more of the matchup of Kelly Johnson and Anna Nazarov. Anna Nazarov having a fantastic season and weekend for Fury, and also in the Player of the Year conversation. Both of those players are very, very quick, particularly up the line.
Anna Nazarov, one of the most talented and productive players in the women's division for many years now, and certainly a legend in her own right. Sarah Griffith subbing in here for Rory Titcomb. Rachel Bradshaw with the disc. Block there. Excellent play by Maggie Rudin, casting the net wide, and it comes back with a block. Excellent read on the play there by Rudin, selling out to make a play and get her team possession of the disc.
It's a great read of the space, and if Fury converts this break, they're in a very good position already. In the
right away, a huck over the head of Sarah Carnahan. An opportunity wasted. Boyden launching a backhand, but nowhere near her receiver. Perhaps this Riot offense is a little rattled.
Yeah, you could see she had options cutting deep there, and the shape of the disc was not going into her receiver's intended hands.
Back underway with the Fury offense. Claire Desmond getting her first touch, matched up with Sarah Griffith. Hard to find a more explosive cutter matchup than that. Fury swinging the disc all the way around in their horizontal stack before Desmond comes up the middle. Contact there from Griffith.
Veteran grab from Desmond there under pressure. 2 hands on that disc.
Back underway here. Rudin with a towing of the line to maintain possession. Johnson pleading to get a stoppage of play, perhaps to see if that disc was caught. But the game continues, and now here's a deep shot. Falls a little short to Carnahan. And now Carnahan looking to find Desmond and pokes it into the end zone. Another break for Fury. They're now up 3-4-1 on their rivals, Seattle Riot.
Incredible movement down the field. And you can see here, Carnahan catching it. And you just know she's looking for Desmond, and she's willing to give Desmond a couple options to make herself space in the end zone. This Fury team and the Riot team knows Claire Desmond can get open there, and she will make that play.
And to be honest, I'd say that this Fury offense has been far from sparkling. They're not doing anything special, but Riot just keeps giving them chances. And you can't give a team this good on this big a stage the disc over and over and not expect them to make you pay for it.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that not as well in this game, but so far this weekend, if a team gives Fury one drop, they will march it into the end zone again and again. And that's how you build those leads, like what Fury is building right now.
Perhaps shades of last year's final where Riot took on Brute Squad and found themselves overmatched, really taken away from their game plan and into a big hole. That game looked over by halftime. And right now they would really need to rebound here if they want to have a chance of getting back to the final and getting another shot at the title. Snyder with a big backhand pull. Fury's defense looking to add to their lead. Weatherford with the disc against the Fury zone. Fiona McKibben over here to Soper. Great throw through the middle by Soper. But still very little yardage here for this Riot team to find. And you think of zones as being either two types, containment or pressure, and Fury seems content with containment. Make them throw so many throws that one of them finally yields a mistake.
Absolutely. You can see on the marks they're not holding so hard that Riot can't get some of those resets, but they aren't seeing many options upfield that look viable, particularly with Snyder in the middle there.
Really, Fury's defense looks very well connected, moving to fill spaces as their teammates give up offenders. Riot staying patient though. Jaclyn Verju getting the disc up ahead. Now perhaps a transition from Fury into person-to-person.
You can see Verju trying to make deep cuts, but she's got Snyder on her, and the Riot handlers are looking off that deep option as long as Snyder's there.
Zahnizer on the open sideline, getting high in the stall count, goes to the end zone, and Verju's there. Riot with a hold to make it 4-2 Fury.
Very, very patient zone point from Riot there. You know, we saw a little bit of rushing from them earlier. But hopefully they can set a defensive line out here that can somehow manage to fluster Fury just enough that they can have some break opportunities.
Jaclyn Verju, of course, the brightest young star in the women's game right now. Still a teenager here, but in her second club championship semifinal. And at 6'1", an imposing frame, but maybe an even more imposing skill set. Still 3 years of college ultimate ahead of her, but coming back from some fairly serious injuries. Something I imagine we'll keep an eye on for the entirety of her career.
Yeah, she spent most of last season not playing for Dartmouth, but managed to come back just in time for the college nationals and helped Dartmouth go much deeper into the bracket than many people would have predicted. And I think it really speaks to Riot's depth that she can be a role player on this team and, you know, not the breakaway star on a team with this much talent.
Verju, a proud product of that Seattle youth women's scene, as so many players on this Riot team are. One of their greatest strengths and greatest assets, and they are constantly tending to and maintaining that environment and producing many of the game's top women's players. Nazaroff and Romano working against a very wide cup for this Seattle Riot zone.
It looks like much of the Riot zone is sagging off into those spaces to prevent some of those lanes that Fury likes to hit so much.
Resetting here with Steph Lim, and now back to Nazaroff. Romano gets it through the middle of the cup back into the hands of Nazaroff. Carnahan up to Desmond as Fury starts to find a little yardage. Transition here from Riot. Great disc movement here. Nazaroff advancing and now into the end zone for Dariani. Desmond on the throw. Dariani on the catch. Hold for Fury to extend the lead back to 3, up 5-2.
You could watch Fury. You can see them picking up pace as they approach the red zone. And Claire Desmond is so crucial in this midfield. She's able to get that disc and immediately fire off an assist.
Desmond at 26, approaching the prime of her career, and is a well-honed offensive weapon, capable of spectacular plays downfield, but also an increasingly wide range of exceptional throws.
Yeah, she's really become, you know, a go-to option downfield, and that she has the ability to turn and make the plays happen. And she's had a lot of assists for Fury already this weekend. You see another one of Fury's first-year players out here on this D-line, or one of their newer players, Meaty Chang, who particularly this weekend in the wind has shown remarkable experience and composure coming out of that Michigan Flywheel program. Many of her former teammates playing with Rival and doing well in the wind, and you can see Meaty's very comfortable.
Meaty Chang, a former player with Polar Bears, but her experience as a thrower in the Midwest likely preparing her for the conditions we faced here in Rockford. Riot's offense underway with Alyssa Weatherford up ahead to Shira Stern. Stern with Snyder on the mark. Weatherford boosting a backhand. Dominique Fontanet catches it over the head of Meaty Chang. Not where Chang's at her best in the deep space. Fontanet, another goal.
Yeah, and particularly, even if you're an experienced defender in the air, Dominique Fontanet has many more years of experience, and she knows how to read that disc and attack it. You can see her beautiful backhand coming in, and Dominique is ready and hardly has to move her feet to be in the spot where that disc is going to land.
Chang forced to play a little bit more aggressively because of her lack of size. And there, Fontenette just getting the better read and holding position.
Riot working really well through Fury's person defense there. That was one of the first points that they weren't coming out in that containment zone. And Riot just cranked up the backhand side there. And that long ball gave them the quick offensive hold they need because they've got to set a D-line and try to break back into this game.
Taking a look at this Fury offensive line. And really, to be clear, neither of these teams has an O-line or a D-line. They ask all of their players to be ready to do whatever is necessary to win. And they work more with small groups to build chemistry in various different roles more than they do on groups to be offensive or defensively oriented. And we've seen Alex Snyder, who's receiving the centering pass now, playing both D and O points. Now coming wide to Katie Ryan. Ryan into the middle to Jorgensen, who resets back to Snyder. Genevieve LaRoche getting it back to Snyder. Marissa Mead now holding and looking for an option. Steps wide for an around break. Now low throw dug out by Ryan. Fury into the red zone, marching forward. And a stoppage here.
You can see as they march down in this person defense, the space that Fury is creating downfield. If you want to change how Fury's playing, you can't give them the opportunity to create these spaces for each other and cut into these lanes.
Mead checking the disc in. Resetting to Snyder. Jorgensen on the break side. Zonizer closing off the break side space. Wide mark here. And a mistake there from Fury in the red zone.
So that was just a little bit past Alex Snyder's hands.
Soper comes across to Verju. Up ahead to Griffith. Griffith, one of 3 Michigan Flywheel alums, I believe, in this game, along with Chang and Mead. And now here's a throw from Snyder into the end zone. Looking for Verju. She hauls it in with an excellent layout grab. Her second goal of the game, and Riot's back within 1. That's going to be our B ultimate play of the game. No surprise to see it coming from Riot's young star.
You can look at that play again. Going up the line, a beautiful forehand there. And Verju popping out to make sure that she gets that disc. You know, we usually see her dominant in the air, but a player at this level and that talented, she can dive and get low as well when need be. Try B Ultimate Apparel's new premier line of fabrics, the N-Knit and N-Weave. Both highly lightweight and built to keep you dry.
That play brought to you by B Ultimate, purveyors of some of the finest quality. And certainly Verju qualifies. Truly an elite player that it sounds like we will be talking about being at the top of the game for years to come. I mean, heck, she's already there.
She told me 2 years ago that her goal in Ultimate, her ultimate goal in the sport was to make Riot, and she did that very same year. So I imagine she's got some even bigger goals now for the sport.
Frightening to think that at just 19 there's so much room for growth. Really, potentially the kind of player who could change this sport. They're a great grab there to save possession. Maybe the pressure starting to ratchet up after Riot got themselves back in it. And that throw too wide. Attempted greatest comes up short. And now Riot can add a break to tie it up. Boyden initiating over with a swing to Johnson. Now working sideline to sideline. Disc up ahead with Mercer. Stoppage.
Both of the last turns that Riot's been able to get from Fury, both seem to be on Fury's execution errors. And I wonder if Riot is ratcheting up their defense here to force some of those errors so they can capitalize.
Great grab by Boyden, protecting possession despite Fury's defensive pressure. Boyden, such a long reach on those throws. Johnson, inside throw. Bradshaw chases, lays out. 2 layout grabs, 2 straight breaks. Riot's tied it back up.
That was a beautiful save there from Bradshaw. You can see several of the people in the stack not going for that zippy inside throw. You can see here from Kelly Johnson. And she's ready to rescue that.
Maybe a bit of an instructive throw there from Johnson. Just speculating, hey, I see a lot of open space. If I can float this, all of my teammates are going to have the advantage. It's a lot of trust there, and rewarded by Rachel Bradshaw, who has had a very impressive tournament here in Rockford.
And Kelly Johnson, you have to come to expect, if you're marking her, you have to come to expect that inside flick from her. That's one of the throws that's been her bread and butter for several years now. First on Nemesis out here near Chicago, and for several years now, she's done quite a bit for Riot.
Johnson, one of the fixtures in that Riot backfield over the past few seasons. As we see a timeout between the two teams, Riot huddling up. Fury breaking out of their timeout.
This is one of the first time really this tournament that Fury's had to be back on their heels and have to think about how they're coming back into this game.
I think they knew they'd have a fight on their hands playing against Riot, and that they shouldn't expect to blow out a team of this caliber. Of all the battles these two teams have had over the years, very few have been lopsided. As we see Gwen Ambler, a fixture on both sides of this rivalry, now having moved to the sidelines as a coach for this Riot team.
Yep,
it's hard to throw a stone around this field without finding a legend, including Ambler herself.
Ambler thinking that she would retire 2 seasons ago, and when they lost in this very game, she came back for another season. And after a more successful Nationals, reaching the finals, she decided to retire into a less involved role of actually coaching the team.
And here's the pull up from Riot. Fury looking to get back in front after giving up this lead to an aggressive Riot offense after the turn. Snyder with Griffith blanketing her. Nice big gainer through the middle now for Snyder in a power position. Snyder gets up the line. Now on the sideline looking for options before she finds a reset. Crossfield throw here. Now in the hands of Lisa Cooper. Cooper, high release back into the end zone. Kawhi and Jorgensen in chase. Jorgensen fights her off for a tough goal.
Beautiful grab from Jorgensen. Downfield, Riot players, and you'll see in this replay of that goal, in the pockets of their women on offense here. She gets very little separation and manages to bring out that grab for the score. But uncharacteristic for Snyder to have so few options when she looks downfield from her cutters. But Riot really staying very close and challenging every under option.
Riot really picking it up defensively after the first couple points when Fury's defense was dictating the pace of this game. And that has brought us back to such a tightly contested score.
I think in a perfect scenario for Fury, they would play at a slightly slower pace than Riot prefers. You know, with handlers like Rory and Kelly Johnson, they like to push that pace and have it be a little faster, more aggressive. And bringing Fury's handlers up to that, bring them up to that pace with their close pressure defense can only benefit Riot.
The winner of this game will advance to the championship game, where they will take on the winner of tonight's Boston Brute Squad and Denver Molly Brown semifinal. Rematches of last year in both semifinals. And really, these four teams have been the top four teams in the division for 2 seasons now. Callie Ma with a disc for Riot. Person to person here from Fury. Nice backhand whipped under the foot of Anna Nazaroff. And those signature break throws from Riot as Weatherford powers one cross field. A huge layout grab from Shira Stern.
Beautiful, beautiful layout. Something Shira Stern has become known for on this Riot team. We'll see that again. Full extension, almost leaving her feet there to make that grab.
They do not get much prettier than that layout from Stern. The Washington Element product, if we take another look at that one, look at her just go fully horizontal for that. Her whole body's well off the ground, and she had to extend every inch to get to it.
And she is one of those players over the past few seasons. You see her go into the end zone for a disc like that, and there's just no doubt she's going to make that kind of play. She's been doing that in the end zone all weekend.
3 straight goals for Riot, all caught on layouts. Stern makes sure to extend the streak there with perhaps the best one so far. 6-6 here between San Francisco and Seattle, with a berth in the finals on the line.
It seemed earlier in this half that Fury might take this game away again, and it might not be the close 1-point game that these teams have played every time they've been in the semifinal, but Riot has fought their way back into this.
Mercer with the pull, but it tails out of bounds at the last moment. Nazaroff centering up the disc. So far, Fury has not beaten Riot this season. They're 0-2, both attempts at the Pro 5 finale, but looking to change that when it matters most.
It looks like we're seeing another Riot zone here around Fury handlers.
Nazaroff, Lim, and now Rudin looking to find their way past this aggressive Riot Cup. And this is maybe the third or fourth different look it feels like we're seeing from Riot. Their creative defenses born from coaching staff of Gwen Ambler and Andy Loveseth.
And they know that these Fury handlers are confident and know this Riot team well, so changing the defense on every defensive point Riot has can keep them on their toes as much as possible.
Slow going here on this point, but Fury has been nothing if not patient thus far in this game. So no surprise to see them unharried through the first 30 or so throws at this point.
And you can tell they're unwilling to fully swing the disc all the way over to the other sideline. Imagine Riot would love to trap them over there.
And it just seems that Fury wants to play a much slower game than Riot does. And whether it's wearing them down on defense or by making them throw a lot of throws on offense, Fury seems content to play long points and force Riot to do the same. Lim in the backfield now. She and Nazaroff working it back and forth before Nazaroff finds a hole and throws it through to Marika Austin. Carnahan now as the discus advanced and Riot's forced to transition. Nazaroff going to work. Gains another 10 yards or so with some sneaky cutting.
You can see Fury's downfield not as active as they have been in past points. They seem to be waiting for the handlers to make these give and goes, and so they can explode into the end zone like that.
What a great cut there from Claire Desmond to set up that one. An open throw to Marika Austin gives Fury back to lead 7-6, but Austin a little shaken up after the play.
Yeah, it's hard to see exactly how she landed there. It was a great catch for the score. And certainly got the job done for this Fury hold.
And look at Desmond with a give and go throw, just toasting her defender up the line, and with lots of space, an easy continue to a bidding Marika Austin.
She had already thrown the assist before her mark had even come over to try to set on that play. It was good, slow offense from Fury. A little bit more stagnant downfield once Riot had gone into person defense on them. Usually they're grinding a lot more than that, but it certainly worked, particularly with Claire Desmond in the middle there, ready to take on some of those handling responsibilities and create those plays.
Versatility, the hallmark of this Fury team. If you can't do 2 to 3 different roles on the field, you're probably not going to make it when tryout time comes.
Certainly each of these players have been instrumental in offense and defense. It's hard to say, when someone has a breakout game on this team because their roster is so deep. And that's part of what has made them so successful over this weekend in the wind is their whole roster can throw that well in the wind, so they don't have to rely on movement going through Snyder and Nazaroff in order to score goals.
Snyder with the pull here. Weatherford back to field it. Snyder coming wide for Fontenette. Shimmy fake from Fontenette. Doesn't free up space. Meister's not fooled. Snyder holding. The Carleton alum dishes off to Weatherford. But Snyder with a drop on the up line cut.
An uncharacteristic drop for Snyder, who's had a lot more playing time this season for Riot and has really stepped up to be a great handler for them.
Snyder, a top player in college, and after moving back to Seattle, has started to really hit her stride this season with Riot, but there, coming up with a mistake that could allow Fury to take half. Backhand knock from Finney. Got a target. LaRoche bids, but too low.
Looks like that was a hard pass to catch there. Though if there's someone to make those difficult plays, I would put money on LaRoche.
LaRoche, such a gritty player for this Fury team and has made a career out of coming up with plays that just it doesn't seem like she has a chance. Wide throw here to Kawhi. Kawhi looking for options. Finds a reset and then a big gainer upfield, but a foul call. Here, discussion between Cooper and Verju.
You can look at that play again. It's hard to tell which way this call is going to go here.
Foul here on the play, so Verju will take the disc. Fontanet now. Finds Cardenas.
Love the matchup of Fontanet and Michaela Meester, who's been huge for Stanford for the past couple of seasons. Old experienced talent with one of Fury's rising stars.
And one of the greats from Stanford's history, Fontanet, a former Callahan winner herself. Now here's Snyder in the red zone. Finney closes on the mark. Now looking for an option inside break to Weatherford, continues to Verju. And we'll have a point to decide the half. Both teams draw even at 7-7.
Great quick offense from Riot there. Fury players close on their players, but once they get onto that break side, some quick passes and another goal for Verju. It's her third so far this game, bringing the score up to 7-7.
And the Dartmouth Star certainly is going to be a real handful for any opposition at the college level, let alone here at the elite club level. Imagine being some college freshman taking the line at a fall tournament and you see Jaclyn Verju come down on the mark on you. I'd quit.
You can't just put height on her because she has so much more than her height and her strength and physicality in this game. She's an incredibly smart player, and she's very mentally tough, particularly after all the injuries that she's had to go through, watching her team struggle through the regular season. And she's continued to be a good teammate for them and great teammate on Riot as well. I know they've been a big support system for her through her injuries.
And that's one of the things I think that impresses me most about this young star is she is an incredible teammate. Very supportive, a great leader, and always there for her team. And that's not always something you see from a superstar, especially one who has been lauded with as much praise and success as Verju has seen. But you're right, Katie. She could be 5'7", and she'd still be an elite level player with the skill set she has. Katie Ryan coming underneath to get it. Now dishing off to Snyder. Fury looking to hold to take the half here. Disc with Megan Liu.
Recently coming over from the very successful Brute Squad roster, and she has already fit very well into Fury's system. Is a very quick player with big backhand throws.
Another great example of a player with plenty of elite club experience that Fury gets to call a rookie. Layout grab there from Nancy Sutton, but a drop from Cooper. And now Riot is the one with the opportunity to take control of the first half.
Uncharacteristic drop from Fury. She did not have a lot of pressure on that catch. Just looked like a fumble, and Riot will hope to capitalize on.
Zonizer resetting to Johnson in the middle. Now into the end zone. A little too far. Fury gets a reprieve. And it really seems like teams have struggled to execute in that far end zone when throwing from the far sideline. A lot of backhands have either gone too far or bladed, so perhaps the conditions trickiest down in that part of the field.
Yeah, there's a light crosswind that might be pushing things just a few inches too far there.
Now Snyder tries to find a high stall option, but pressure defense from Riot gets them a short field turn. Is this the possession that takes us to half? Johnson checks in and is fouled. Boyden now. Inside break. Griffith back to Boyden. Just a few steps away now. Into the end zone. Griffith on the goal. Riot comes back to take the first half. Trailing 4-1 They will go into the half with an 8-7 lead.
Just got to think that Fury lost that point more than Riot won that point. One uncharacteristic drop and then a pressured turf throw from Alex Snyder, one of the most experienced throwers in the division in history. You know, that's two mistakes you can't afford to make when it's 7-7 and you're trying to just hold for half.
The teams will take a break. We've got a great one going here. We'll be right back with you in just a moment. And welcome back to Ultiworld's coverage of the 2016 Club Championships here from Rockford, Illinois at the Mercy Sports Core Soccer Complex and brought to you by Friction Gloves. I'm Keith Rayner, joined by Katie Reynolds, and one remaining half here for one of these two teams. San Francisco Fury trailing Riot 8-7 with a chance to win a national title tomorrow on the line.
You see Fury's got a very veteran line out there for this first point out of half. A lot of players who have been on this Fury team for a long time. You've got to think they are ready to hold quickly in this point and try to regain their lead.
Rudin, Snyder, Nazaroff, Romano, Clancy, Carnahan, all on this Fury line, trying to get them a hold that would tie up this game. Moore's zone here from Riot to slow things down. Snyder and the handlers working the disc around. I've had a couple more mistakes crop up at the end of the first half, and that allowed Riot to get back in it. Riot went down 4-1 in the first half, but fought back with some great breaks.
Riot's zone here really keeping them on this sideline. You can see they're struggling to have that easy reset.
These calm conditions that are foreign to these two teams from the past couple days may see some attempts to make aggressive cross-field throws, but so far, handlers staying patient. Great high release break there from Snyder to open up the field. And now it's with Rudin on the near sideline.
Fury loves to, in zone offense, have that break side wing creep into the deep space for that cross-field deep shot.
Snyder constantly faking, moving the defense, looking to open up space for herself and for her teammates. But a commendable defensive point thus far, even with this foul that'll keep the disc in the hands of Andrea Romano. Riot's been able to really halt this Fury offense and force them to take it one step at a time.
Weatherford not letting any of these rounds off, or if the rounds are coming off, they're really pressured throws.
Not a lot of room for these Fury handlers. They've maybe gotten one or two throws to any of the cutters over the course of this one, although finally they find a little room for Carnahan. That gets them maybe the most yards they've gained in a single throw.
As opposed to the zone that Fury's throwing, which is just containment, but some movement's okay, this Riot defense is really forcing those turns like that after enough throws.
The reset just behind Nazaroff. She can't quite hold on to it. And now Riot looking to press their advantage. Foul call here. No contest here. Weatherford restarts play. She leads this Riot team in assists through the first 2 days of play. And by a healthy margin, really. Perhaps their best deep thrower, particularly in the wind. Groover, who rejoined Riot this year after some time away from the team. Played with Scandal last year. Verju, throw to space. Riven runs it down.
Just a gorgeous throw from Verju there. Saw her teammate coming into the end zone to her left. We'll see that play again. Verju with the disc. Beautiful, almost casual. We've already seen Verju make some incredible bids and a lot of other bids from Riot, but it's important to remember some of their throws can be just as impressive. That's a big break for Riot coming out of half.
Verju involved in her fourth score of the day for Riot and gives them a 9-7 lead as they break out of half. And it's almost hard to tell who's on a no point with these two teams because both offenses have been so patient. Usually you see defensive offenses putting up a lot of deep shots. You see them attacking, being aggressive, fast breaking. But here, Riot has been very calm, collected, poised, and moved the disc at their own pace after the turn.
And I think really what makes both of these teams and all of the 4 teams in the semifinals so elite is that efficiency on the defensive turn. Once they have possession, is they can just put that point away. You can see even on this D-line, some of the people they have on this D-line are some of Riot's better known throwers. You know if you get a turn, players like Kelly Johnson are going to be able to, throw hucks for the score in another break.
Mercer on the pull. Lim centering it up to Nancy Sun.
You see again there's person defense now from Riot. They're throwing several different defensive looks on Fury here.
Desmond into the middle back to Sun. Takes off. And another drop here from Fury. These have been costly thus far in this game. Can Riot continue to put the pressure on San Francisco? Layout grab there. Saves possession. Mercer now. Resetting to Boyden. Boyden in the middle of the field. And a block on the mark there from Sun, but a foul call.
Riot's bringing back the disc. You can see they've got their vert stack set up below, and you've already seen a couple of those inside breaks that Riot loves to hit. Open up that break side.
Inside break there from Kawhi, and Riot's pouring it on now. Charlie Ide celebrating with her team as they take a 3-goal lead, 10-7.
Nice find here from Kawhi. Across these lateral cuts, and Fury defense just seemed unaware of where she was moving in the end zone. Kind of snuck that right there into the middle. This is an interesting spot for Fury to be in. It's the only time they've had a deficit like this so far this tournament.
And the teams are going to take a timeout, take a quick break. We'll do the same. We'll be right back with you.
We're going to check out the new Friction 3 gloves.
Certainly, Friction Gloves, a sponsor of our presentation. Their new Friction 3 gloves, their best product yet. Highly recommend you check them out. You can do so at frictiongloves.com. And that number 3 is exactly the deficit that San Francisco faces as the crowd gathers, the pressure mounts.
This is a semifinal that everyone wants to watch. They've seen it many times before, but that does not mean that this game is going to be boring. Everyone wants to see which of these historic powerhouses is going to come out of this matchup. And so far, out of half, it looks like Riot is the promising contender here.
And the games between these two teams, however frequent they are, however many times you've seen it, it's like one of your favorite classic movies. You never get tired of it. It always delivers.
Particularly when these two programs can attract some of the best young talent coming out of the college division, and people want to see those stars perform at the highest level as well.
Now back underway with Alex Snyder. A rare person-to-person point, but right away Fury gives back the disc, and the efficiency that has marked their offense throughout the past 2 days of competition has vanished under the pressure of this Riot defense. Riot working on adding yet another break to their building collection. Cross-field throw, jump ball. Bradshaw hauls it in, her second goal. 4-goal lead now for Riot. Is that going to be enough to put away Fury?
Watch this assist again. Not a throw a lot of teams would attempt. Bradshaw once more coming to the rescue to secure that goal and that break. It was a ballsy throw. You know, it seems for some of these points, unlike many of their games before, when Fury loses the disc, they haven't been able to apply pressure on Riot's offense to recover that disc again. And Riot seems to be able to do what they want in order to march down for the break.
And this, to be honest, is a bit more like the Fury we saw during some of their elite matchups during the regular season. Hot start, go up 4-1, but then it quickly has fallen apart for them since then. Often on unforced miscues. It feels like we're watching a different team than we watched through the first 5 points of this game.
And we discussed earlier the impact that Maddie Sang has had being on the sidelines, but you can't coach turf discs like that, and you can't coach those drops. Those are things that are the player's responsibility on the field to execute on.
This matchup often dominated by Fury in their most critical moments throughout the program's history, but Riot has taken the advantage here just as they have in the most recent battles between these two teams. The tide has turned. What does Fury have left in the tank? Riot zone now clamping down as Fury approaches the sideline. Crossfield throw saved with a Anna Nazarov layout. Carnahan. Now some poaching and switching from this Riot defense. But easily handled by Fury. That's the type of possession they need. Carnahan on the goal, receiving the backhand from Desmond.
We'll see them coming down this break side again. Many of Fury's cutters looking stagnant and a little uncomfortable behind Riot zone, and once they switched to person again, they were able to make some movement and hold and score their first point out of half.
And now Fury will try and reapply the pressure they started this game with. We're a little over 11 minutes away from a soft cap. So about 30 minutes left in one of these teams' seasons.
Fury has a lot of work to do, you know, in the next 11 minutes if they want to come back on this Riot team that is heating up and becoming much more efficient and forceful with the disc.
It hasn't always been pretty for Riot over the past 2 days, but that's okay.
And this seems like yet another example. It's not the prettiest game that they've had, but they are getting it done when it matters most, and they may come away with the win because of that.
Legacies are measured in titles, not in style. And Riot is working on getting a long-sought title. It starts here in this semifinal. A block by Fury. But a call here. Jorgensen has been disruptive on defense for Fury, but let's take another look and see if we can suss out what happened. And Ma waving her hand. It may seem she's saying she caught that, but now the disc is in the hands of Fury. Some confusion on defense here. Finney completely unmarked. Now she rips a backhand towards the end zone. Katie Ryan catches it and one. A break for Fury brings the lead down to 2, 11-9 in favor of Seattle.
That was an excellent grab in coverage from Katie Ryan, whose first year on Fury, but has also been great in the deep space for Fury, catching difficult discs just like that one. Fury's defense will have another crack at Riot. If they can get another break, this becomes a different game.
The pace of this game has been a bit surprising to me, Katie. As the conditions have improved, we have seen this game slow down as both teams have chosen zone as their weapon of choice. And rather than a lot of one-on-one matchups, we're seeing a lot of testing of wills, testing of patience throughout this one. Are you surprised at all by the strategic decisions of Riot and Fury?
Well, I think that we've seen for both teams when they apply person offense, some of these teams' most talented downfield cutters can really go to work and create opportunities for themselves that Riot and Fury are going to be able to take advantage of. But in zone, you eliminate, potential downfielders such as Hannah Kawhi and Jaclyn Verju.
As we looked at that Riot offense, you can see they look relaxed, holding the lead. The onus is on Fury to get back into this one. The pull goes up. And again, Fury comes out in the zone, nearly generates a turnover right away. Weatherford. Now over to Cardenas. Kawhi. And notable, we have yet to see the return of Rory Titcomb since she went out with injury early in the first half. One of the centerpieces of the handler core for the Seattle team. Certainly they will miss her presence as they try and fight off Fury.
And it's unfortunate that she is not the first Titcomb sister to go out with an injury today at Nationals. Chyna went down earlier in pool play and has not been back and not expected to return. Hopefully both sisters are okay for this Riot team, even as they go into the offseason.
Kawhi, great around break to a wide open Cardenas as Riot enters the red zone and gets 1 point closer to the national championship game. Up 12-9 now with a little under 7 minutes remaining before soft cap.
You've got to think Riot is just saying we're only a few points away. There's no need to rush, no need to panic. We know we've been here before. We can just keep marching these holds in and get ourselves a ticket to the finals.
And these two teams have lined up against each other so many times with so much on the line. Certainly Riot knows that taking their foot off the gas would be the number one mistake. They have seen Fury mount some unbelievable comebacks. Maybe the greatest comeback of all time. But that is probably far from Riot's mind. They just know we need to finish this one off our way.
But another veteran Fury O-line out here.
Take a look at this Fury line. Maggie Rudin, Nancy Sun, Sarah Carnahan, Andrea Romano, Anna Nazaroff, Claire Desmond, and Derek Clancy will be the 7 looking to get this crucial hold for Fury.
We've talked a lot about the first-year players on Fury, but when it comes down to the line late in the second half, we see their legends who know this system, who've been here so many times before, out on the field to try to get these crucial points for Fury.
The rain begins to fall lightly here, but picking up as Charlie Mercer pulls here to Fury. Romano in the middle, person to person from Riot, and again a odd Fury error to begin the point. This could be a dagger for Fury. Attempt to throw around. That's going to draw a foul here against Romano. Boyden with the disc. High throw, snagged by Kawhi. Riot moving backwards. Nice downfield D in particular from Fury. But now Riot finds some room with Griffith. Resetting here now, Johnson, cross field, just outside the end zone. Heidi looking for an option. Stall count rising. High release backhand. Riot breaks again. 13-9. Fury's unforced errors have put them into a grim situation.
You could see Riot moving across this end zone again and again. You give them enough chances, they're going to have a throw like that for another break. And I have to say, impressive defense from Fury in the end zone there. You saw a lot of options that were just denied by Fury defenders, but you know, you get enough passes across, they're going to get that break.
And Riot has played, has done an admirable job on defense. Their zone has clogged up a lot of lanes. They've done a good job cutting off some downfield options and an excellent job in particular on the mark. However, they have very few blocks. Fury has made a lot of mistakes offensively during the course of this game, and Riot has been the one to capitalize just as the game has started with the tables turned the other way.
We talked going into this game a lot about Fury's efficiency and not a lot about their mental game throughout the course of this tournament because it hasn't truly been tested. You know, they've been up and they've had to work to stay up, but there have been very few times that they've had to come out of a deficit like this as opposed to Riot, who has some experience doing that.
Weatherford with the pull. 13-9, Riot leads. Fury facing a deep hole if they would like to make it to the championship final. Again, another zone here from Riot. Crossfield throw, finds LaRoche. Now Riot forced to transition. Jorgensen holding. She and Finney operating out of the backfield now, but Finney's options few and far between, so she fires to the end zone. And a great grab there from Katie Ryan. Another one in traffic for her.
Second goal from Katie Ryan already this half. Just great hands under pressure. You can see here this throw coming up and quite a few defenders again, and she comes down with the disc for the Fury hold.
Finney really muscling that throw into a small window. She had to throw it high enough for it to get over the defenders in front of her, but with enough speed and enough drop to come in back for her receiver. Very challenging throw, very small window, and required Ryan to make a play.
Fury close behind and have to get this break, you know, as the clock ticks down. Head into soft cap.
Yeah, their comeback is going to have a rapid pace. Soft cap likely to go on during this point. Riot approaching the score necessary to advance, so Fury's going to have to put it together and do so in a hurry.
Got many younger Fury players on this defensive line, but veteran pull from Desmond.
Sidelines have filled here at the Mercy Sports Corps Soccer Complex in Rockford. Riot's offense back to work with Verju. Snyder, inside forehand back to Verju. A pick called.
But that's the lane that Riot is looking for in this vert stack. They want that inside break so they can work up that other side of the field. We haven't seen it a lot in this game because Fury's thrown several zones. But this is the vertical offense that's gotten them here.
Late game change here to person from both teams. And we'll see who it favors. What a great layout there. But saved by Snyder. Desmond making a huge play, but just not quite enough. And it does feel like so many of the bounces have gone Riot's way in the latter portions of this game. Another stoppage before we really get started. Back on our way with Snyder. Snyder bleeding forehand, blocked by Nazarov.
Excellent D from Nazarov there. You can see Verju streaking deep, ready to make a play there. It would be hard to defend, but Nazarov getting up early, not even letting that be a chance.
Nazarov calmly walking to the line. Lim looking for an option. Inside backhand. Finney pumping a big backhand there, but decides to take the reset instead. Narayan. Finney winds one up, puts it out into the deep space. Jump ball situation. And Bailey Zahnizer wins that one, climbing the ladder versus Desmond.
Oregon alum, no stranger to big plays like that.
And it really looked like she might be outmatched in the air by the taller Desmond, but goes up with aggression and comes back down with the disc. Now Riot working it side to side. Sheer Stern, wide, pressure there from Fury, generates the turn. Or does it? Maybe a foul on the throw here as Stern and Lynn discuss. No foul here according to the observer. And that means it'll be Fury's disc.
Fury with another chance to break here late in the game.
There hasn't been a shortage of opportunities for either team. Riot has just been better at converting. Austin now with the disc, about 35 yards out. Desmond, far sideline, resetting. Finney goes across the field to Austin. Now into the red zone. Fury looking to get some room to score. But they will remain patient. Nazarov shimmies to free up an inside backhand to Lim. She finishes it off to Austin. San Francisco will not go quietly. 13-11.
Incredible save from Lim there on that low break backhand. She immediately gets up, knows she'll have a receiver there for that goal. Now that's a big break for Fury here, but Keith, is it enough as this game goes into soft cap and they have fewer and fewer chances?
It's a tough spot to be in. There's no doubt about it. But with these two teams, there really is a situation where you kind of have to throw the usual out the window. We've seen some wild turns of events over the course of the series between these two teams, and as many sports cliches as it takes, these two teams seem to live up to it.
And it's one of those rivalries, you know, in so many other sports, the rivalries are filled with bitterness, you know, or dislike between the two teams, but so many of these players have played with each other on other platforms and Worlds games and worked together in coaching that a lot of them are very, very good friends and are excited about seeing each other every year in the semifinals or the finals.
Yeah, I believe there was a point in this rivalry where Gwen Ambler was playing for one team while living with the captains of the other. And that's just emblematic of how intertwined these two teams have been over the past decade or so.
Goes all the way up to the coaching staff. Maddie Sang and Andy Lufsef have been coaching against each other so many times that they're good friends as well.
And this rivalry, not only famous because all the big moments it's produced, all the champions, but really it encapsulates so much of what so many people love about this game, from both the level of competition and skill, but also the camaraderie and respect these two teams share. Alex Snyder ready to pull for Fury. Kawhi fielding it, centers up to Johnson. Poaching person defense here from Fury. Mixing up the defensive looks. Cardenas. Stoppage here. And you can see how in this vertical stack, when Riot gets a disc in the middle of the field, they often will play without a dump, 6 cutters, and will look for their resets to come from upfield. On the sidelines, they'll bring back a reset option. But here, going forward with the disc, Boyden hangs one up, asks for a sky, gets it. Charlie Heide takes requests. She'll make it 14-11.
Second goal in this game. Beautiful grab. We'll see this again. Coming up in a pile. She catches it over her defender. Celebrating with the crowd celebrating behind her.
And now Riot just a single goal away from advancing to the finals once more. Fury season on the line in every point moving forward. Hard cap approaching. 11 and a half minutes remaining.
I don't know if we'll reach hard cap, though, if Riot can put out a strong line. It's hard to imagine from here Fury battling back into this game. Even such an elite team as San Francisco Fury, Riot's got this one in hand, and all they need is one really nice string of plays to send them to the finals.
Every point is do or die here for Fury. And Riot now has earned multiple chances to win this game.
See Snyder again on this line. She's played most of the points for Fury here, offense and defense.
Some of the newer players still on this Fury line. There's a lot of trust that runs through this San Francisco team. And one of those players, Marissa Mead, will pick up the pull. Centering pass not even available there. Snyder launches one. Has a target, but just a little too much heat on that throw. Riot will take the disc, and this possession could send them to the finals. And a drop early in the possession is going to give a short field opportunity to Riot. Fury now. Around break from Snyder. A gorgeous throw. And you can see why she's considered one of the greatest throwers to ever play the game on that forehand over to Midi Chang.
Just a forceful zipping throw here. She gets the disc, surveys the field, and sends that quickly into the end zone.
Lisa Cooper runs that one down, and really just a sterling throw from Snyder. Had it all, power and touch. But Riot now will be on offense with a chance to win this one. Fury needs breaks.
Riot looking relaxed and fairly collected on the line here. They know what they've got to do in this final point.
Griffith, Soper, Weatherford, Stern, Snyder, McKibben, and Fontanet, the 7, taking them on for this game point.
A lot of very experienced throwers, even for Riot, very experienced throwers on this line. You know, everyone's going to be able to move the disc up the field and throw that assist if they need to.
Nazaroff winds up the pole. And we're underway on what could be the final point of Fury season. Soper with the disc. Weatherford up ahead to McKibben. But it sounds like a forced middle here. What a block. Anna Nazaroff, folks. And now she's launching one for the goal, and it's in.
Incredible plays here from Fury.
Heroics from Anna Nazaroff. What a play. Let's look at that block one more time.
Incredible one-handed D. And then immediately coming up. And looking downfield. And a gorgeous just scoop pass there.
Great catch, too, perhaps overshadowed by the heroics of Nazaroff. You know, you hear people talk about making a big play and then having a conservation of greatness, but when you're truly great, you don't care. Give me the disc. Let me make plays. Nazaroff has her team back within 1.
Fury's got another shot here to generate a turn and march into the end zone quickly like that.
Could that play turn the tide for Fury? Will this Seattle offense be able to respond?
And you can see stars like Claire Desmond and Anna Nazaroff back out on the line.
Desmond ready to pull. If there were seats for these fans, they'd be on the edge of them. But right now, they're lining the sidelines with anticipation. Wide reset here, and Riot switches fields to Kawhi. Rudin in coverage.
Interesting to note, both teams have been back in person defense again.
Now Boyden, looking deep, cross field, blocked, knocked out of the sky by Desmond. Boyden ambitiously trying to go over the stack to no avail. Nice grab there by Desmond. And now Marika Austin is holding for Fury. Contested grab here. You can tell all 14 players want this one. They know how big it is. Nazaroff resetting. And now back with the disc in the middle of the field. Finds Austin.
Fury still playing that slightly slower pace, but you can see on every grab how much they want that disc. There's an increased intensity in their catches. Narayan, they know how much this matters.
Narayan with the disc, but a pick called here by Boyden. Narayan discussing the distance here and whether or not she should keep the disc. If she does keep this, Fury will be entering the red zone with a chance to tie this game up. Narayan checking it back in. Resets back to Nazarov. Desmond firing it back to Nazarov. Cross-field throw. Finds the hands of Carolyn Finney. And we are back to even 15-15. Would it go any other way? 14-14, excuse me.
What incredible play here. You can see this again. Confident backhand break to Finney with a two-hand catch. I'm regretting ever doubting this Fury team. Fury looking excited, high energy, ready to put another powerful D-line out there to generate another break to save their season.
Through the wind, through the rain that we've seen in Rockford, the air has never felt as thick as it does right now as Riot prepares to receive this pull from Fury on double game point. Whoever scores this goal will advance to the final to play the winner of Brute Squad and Molly Brown. I'll be completely honest with you, Katie. My heart is like in my throat right now. I feel like I'm on the field.
I cannot believe how Fury has managed to turn up the dial on this game through incredible plays from Anna Nazaroff and Claire Desmond, really from all seven on the field, but those two making unbelievable plays to bring their team back into this game.
And to sing her praises one more time, note that in this double game point situation, one of the seven that'll take the line for Riot is a 19-year-old star named Jaclyn Verju.
If it's double game point, you want that kind of firepower downfield. You know, if they come under pressure, Jaclyn Verju can make those plays.
Just on the opposite end of the line, Verju, 19, near your screen. All the way on the other side, 41-year-old Dominique Fontenette. Generations are spanned on this Riot team. Will one of those two players be the one to send them to the final? Fury has picked it up. It was 14-11 just moments ago, but they have battled their way back into double game point. Can they break once more? All those questions will be answered here as we are underway. Cardenas on the far sideline. Resetting to Johnson in the middle. Big gainer there for Verju. Plucks it out of the sky.
Great break side throw there.
Sliding grab by Cardenas. Riot finding the room. They're nearing the goal line and nearing finals. Griffith resetting. Nice inside break. Expect to see them go to the opposite direction. They do. An open Fontenette is going to catch the game winner. And just like that, Riot fends off a furious San Francisco comeback and wins 15-14.
What an incredible final point there. You know, after all the ferocity of the last few points, that easy around to a seemingly open Fontenette to send Riot to the finals again.
And almost speechless here in the booth. Really just a game filled with ups and downs and incredible moments. Ends with a fairly relaxed point and a lot of pressure, but Riot calmly handles it, finds Fontenette on the break side, and maybe not just like they drew it up, but it'll work. Now they will go to the final.
And just the ferocity in the last few points from Fury, combined with the calmness from Riot, really reminds you again, these are two of the best programs in this sport's history. And Riot wins this matchup once more.
So that will do it for Ultiworld's coverage here at the Club Championships. An excellent day's work here, and really appreciate all the hard work of the Ultiworld staff. our cameramen, Jesse Goldstein and Aiden Shapiro-Layton, the real heroes behind the scenes, rarely get the credit. They don't get the bylines, but have done an excellent job bringing this coverage. Really appreciate everyone for joining us. I'm Keith Rayner, and for Katie Reynolds, Charlie Eisenhood, and everyone here at Ulti World, we will see you next time.